and welcome to the Warrior Stories podcast, where we dive into the unique health journeys of everyday people like you and me. Health is often taken for granted, but it's not always the default setting for a lot of us. That's why we want to empower people to keep fighting, keep searching for answers, and to realize that they are not alone. If that resonates with you, then go ahead and click that subscribe button so you'll always know when we have a new episode out. Now, today I have Doug Wilson with us. He runs his own window cleaning and pressure washing business. On his off time, he enjoys hiking, spending time with his family, and throwing the ball around with his dog. He also deals with joint pain. So as you can imagine, that can make life really, really difficult. But we're thrilled to have Doug with us here today. Thank you so much for joining us, Doug. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks.
Awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and to share your story. It's so important. And I know so many people deal with the same issues that you deal with on a regular basis. So it's really awesome that you came to talk with us today. We really, really appreciate it. Can you tell us a little bit about the main health issue that you deal with?
The biggest issue I deal with is the joint thing, joint reality, and pretty much exclusively what dominates my concern, if you will, is, my knees. So they weren't an issue for most of my life. But in recent years, now that I'm 66, it's become more pronounced. So I never really had any real concern about them at all. I just played, ran around, played whatever sport I was playing. Even as I was not really playing sports officially in some sort of organization, but whatever, ran, and had no problem with any of that until I was like 49 years old. I happened to be running and there was cars passing nearby at the time. And I stepped on a loose piece of cinder. They had done work on a road nearby where I live. And when they did it, they left all these cinder blocks from the pavement. So as I was running by and I stepped on one, trying to make sure I was watching out for the cars. I was, I'm trying to watch out for the cars and run and not seeing the ground in front of me that clearly. I stepped on this one piece of cinder, which caused me to fall in the direction of where the cars were.
Oh gosh.
And so I put my left foot down to catch my balance. That was with my right foot. I hit that cinder and would have been no problem. Most likely I would have done the trick, except that the left foot landed on another loose cinder.
Oh gosh.
Which was now really throwing my balance off to where I was going to actually probably fall right toward where cars had been 6 feet away. Now with all that, I might be actually possibly getting hit.
Oh,
so I gyrated. Somehow I knew that, this was now an emergency type split-second situation. And I somehow gyrated myself back the other way from my left foot leg, which was involved my knee. And when I did, I heard a pop.
Oh,
no. Never had that before. I was still able to finish the run. I did sprints afterward, but I noticed after that there was something going on with my knee. For a while, it was hard to carry any weight upstairs. 40-pound dog food bag was like, ugh. And going up a lot of stairs was kind of not excruciating, but very uncomfortable. One of the things that seemed to help things feel better was to keep running and doing all that, but it never really took care of whatever happened there, whether it was a torn meniscus, ACL, I don't know. I still could do everything on my leg, except if I had to make a fast shift in like an athlete does when he makes a move, any kind of thing like that. It was unpredictable, but it might all of a sudden just let me know, oh, you can't really do that like you used to. Or, it's a sudden sharp, twinge that said, that ain't happening right now, which was new. So as the years went on from there, I sort of just lived with it, and it didn't seem to flare up as much. But once in a while, when I'm mowing the lawn or something, I have to put my foot down a certain way. It couldn't really tell when it would happen, but, it would once again say, yep, there you go. And it all started with that. But I could live with that for the most part. And since I wasn't really trying to play sports officially, that was no factor. When I got to about 62, well, actually, it was 62, I went on a big camp out and hiked around and all that. And I said afterward, I think I want to try and be in better shape for this. So I hadn't run in a year. I went running. And when I got done, nothing happened. No, it was no dramatic incident. But I started noticing my knee was my left knee that was the one that all this happened with, started becoming was regularly uncomfortable now.
Hmm.
Tight. Went and saw physical therapist a few times. They do stuff, sort of help, sort of not. They even told me flat out there as I was going there that most people end up getting knee surgery when even after coming to them, it doesn't really change the matter.
Man, kind of
So
disheartening.
yeah, and so I looked into that a little bit. Well, not I didn't really want to do the knee surgery. Excuse me
I
there.
don't blame you.
I looked into other possible alternatives, like the thing where you get there was this Flexogenics here, where they inject the fluid into your knee, the hyaluronic or fluid and whatever else to try, and supposedly people really notice differences, but not everybody. I could tell by certain reviews that wasn't always the case. Plus, it cost a fair amount of money, and it wasn't
Hmm.
covered with insurance or anything. So I thought, well, I don't know what I'll be putting out a couple $1,000s just for one knee, et cetera.
For something that might work.
Right, right, and that's still where I am. Except in the meanwhile, I tried different supplements that all
Okay.
promise to be the magic answer, and maybe not literally promise to be the magic.
I
You
don't
got
know.
all,
Some of
oh, I
them make a
started
lot of
taking this,
promises.
and they did wonder, changed everything, and so I took different ones, but nothing really, really did that. And then I started trying to take the GLX3. I ran across that on the web or internet, and it sounded pretty positive. It was the second highest rated, according to what my uh, you know what I saw on the internet, highest rated supplement. I got curious of that from hearing TV ads for something else called a Mega Life. So I was wondering, well, what's Mega Life? So as I was trying to look that up, this came up, and I liked the fact it was just one ingredient from uh, mussel shellfish, and thought, well, that it's second rated to another one, but it's just one ingredient and it doesn't have glucosamine in it or some things. You hear different things about different ingredients sometimes, and from one side it's not that good for you, blah blah blah, or it has the MSM in it. You don't want that. Well, and then the product itself says it has it in it, and this is what it does for you. So I didn't. I thought with the shellfish thing, it's one thing. I don't have to think about it. Took it for a month, double dosed, like somebody recommended from the company, Steve, I guess. Anyway,
That
it
sounds
wasn't
like
really.
Steve.
Yeah, I wasn't really because he said has to double dose, and it makes a difference. So after a month, I wasn't totally sure that it was helping. Some days seemed like maybe it was. Some days it was like I can't tell it's making any difference at all because my knee feels about as lousy as it has other times. Um, and of course, my work and going up and down ladders and all that
Mm,
was
I can only
pressure.
imagine.
There's an aggravation to all that. So with that regular basis, I'm looking for something that helps me not have to experience a reminder that you got a problem with your knee. After a month of that and taking a double dose, I was about ready to say this isn't doing anything either. And I had one bottle left. So I had ordered 3 bottles, one per month. Had one bottle left. I said, well, I'm not going to use this up so fast. Since I only have one bottle left, 1 month, I cut back, and then seemed like suddenly it seemed to be helping. And I would say that's still the case. It hasn't given me the all-out cure. Um, well, I have no issues with my knees now, kind of situation, but it has helped. And I noticed the inflammation feeling reduced, uh, which I was thankful for. For like I worked very hard yesterday, and I had to lean out on top of a lift to get to some windows that I was trying to get stuff off of. It was kind of strenuous. Um, I wasn't sure. Later on last night, I had some cramps in my legs, which I don't get that very much, but I used to get it sometimes if I worked strenuously and had food to eat earlier in the day, um, or after a long hard workout when I haven't been working out, kind of thing. Might have cramps. They popped up again. So um, again last night a little bit. So that's probably from the work I did. But my knees feel pretty decent this morning.
That's
I
so
feel
good.
fine. I went and helped Annette get groceries in, and I didn't feel great discomfort with my knee at all. So that's the long and short of why I'm here.
Well, your story really resonates with me just because I feel like so many people that manage joint pain in whatever, whether it was from an injury or just, getting older, um, you'll try anything because it doesn't, if I feel like people overlook joint pain a lot of the time. They're like, oh, you have joint pain, like join the club, like take this medicine or take this other
Yeah.
thing or eat this one thing. And that's the thing is it certain things work for some people and then other things don't work for them at all. So it's just this constant like, what's going to work? Is it going to work for this long? Do I need to take this other thing? Like, what do I need to change my diet? So, like, hearing you talk about this, I'm like, yep, I know what that's like. I know exactly how
Yeah.
that goes.
Right.
Cause yeah, I've also like you and me had talked a little bit. I also take the green lipped muscle oil from GLX3 as well. And I had a very similar situation where I was like, I don't know if this is working. And then over time it started to work more and more. And I was like, oh, okay. But I still have bad days because, the pressure changes in the air get to me sometimes and it just makes my joints swell up and hurt real bad. So I feel like it's never, and you might have a different experience, but I feel like it's never a get to the finish line and just quitting.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
a,
that's what I'm looking for.
that's what we're always looking for, isn't it? Like, oh, one
Yeah.
day I'll get
Give me
it.
the finish line, and we're good. Now I can say this is it.
I did it.
Well,
I
not
feel
only
like,
that, but this is the answer. Just take this.
I feel like that's what everybody's looking for.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think we're pretty similar.
well, so what does, because you've taken some supplements. Um, Are there any other things that you're doing to kind of manage your joint pain, like lifestyle changes or anything like that?
No, I like to eat food that I enjoy a couple beers about every day. I don't get drunk, but I just do that to relax. I like to eat lots of different kinds of food, so I'm not into trying to do a real restrictive diet at all.
Mm,
Um, so what I do in light of all that, and not wanting to like not eat this or whatever, is I got some knee brace things that I put on at night after I come home, and
mm.
they maybe help some, I think. Um, and then also I like last night. I can't do this every day. It seems like because of time, but I try to more than not. But if it's like 2 or 3 times a week, trying to do it more if I can. Is I'll stretch my legs out, do some stretches, and then do some exercises like push-ups and knee lifts, knee bends, excuse me, um, and and just a little exercise where you sit in a chair and you get up, sit in a chair, get up, you know, so many times. That seems to also help.
Good.
So um, I think part of what helps is doing something physically different than what I'm doing all day long to counter, if you will, or whatever the right word would be, um, to sort of act against what's putting the stress on my or help out. You know, even when I was much younger and started doing this work, I said, it's good if I can find some other sort of exercise that helps release my body from this constant thing I'm doing every day. That same action.
Gotcha.
So, initially when I first started back when I was 28, 27, 28, uh, I noticed my wrists were sore from doing the window cleaning work. They're not sore now. And the answer for that was if I did push-ups. So that was an exercise that helped.
Strengthen those wrists.
Yeah, give me an answer to that. So that's what I mean by exercise. The answer to the stress that my physically is being put on me.
I love that though, because I feel like, especially with your story, like even though you say, I don't really change my diet or anything, you still live a relatively similar life to what it sounds like you lived before you had joint pain, but
Right.
you work really hard to keep your body in shape, so your body can support your work, can support the things you like to do for fun. Uh, and I think that's so, so important. Like whether it's stretches or strength training of whatever kind, that's, I think, one of the things that I'm just the most impressed with by you and your story in particular. Would you say that, well, how would you say that because you work a relatively physically intensive job. How is that going with your joint pain? Is it still kind of an issue, or do you have to, make changes at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a definite comes into play. I mean, it's just, if you're not experiencing it, so much easier,
Mm.
to do the work. And I mean, I'm 66, so I'm not going to be able to keep doing this too much longer, probably, unless somehow I discover something that just keeps me going. Um, Sometimes people tell me they're surprised to find out I'm 66. Uh, but I know I'm not as strong as I was used to be. I can tell, and like going up and down stairs now is more of a, uh, even after that injury that happened in 2005, as time went, going up and down stairs was not something was concerned about. I was some people don't want to live in a 2-story house that are older because the stairs. I go, really? In my mind. Now I know. Oh yeah, I can see that. I don't want to go up and down stairs really myself, and I have to carry buckets sometimes up and down stairs. I can't do it as nice and smooth and carry as much as I used to without feeling too much discomfort. And I don't even know if I can still go up with a bunch of weight in my hands. Like, I carry a bucket in one hand and some other tool in another and just go right up the stairs or come down, not even think about it. Now I'm thinking about it almost every step. So, there's the age factor is a reality. But I would like to minimize it if I can, at least from these other things affecting me as much as the fact I get older, which I can't help.
I think that's such an important point you bring up, because I feel like there are so many people over a certain age who do get joint pain. They get age related issues of several different varieties. But I feel like so much of like mainstream wellness culture, if you will, a lot of the time it ignores people. They're like, "Oh, you're of a certain age, you just got to deal with it." And I really really love that you're like, "Yeah, that's true, but I'm going to manage it. I'm going to still do all these things. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to keep fighting." I think that's such an important message to share with people, because everybody gets old. Everybody
Yeah.
ages.
Yeah.
And so ignoring it and acting like it doesn't happen helps no one.
Right. Yeah. It's like a friend of mine said, you're as young as you're going to be right now, ever going to be right now.
That's such a good point. It's so true.
That's it. That's it. You're not going to get any younger.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Right. That's right.
What would you tell someone who is in a similar situation with you, who's dealing with similar types of joint pain than you?
Well, what I would tell them, and really for me, is what helps me be determined that there is a solution, an answer to help. I mean, like I said, um, in the scriptures, the Bible makes this clear. Paul wrote by revelation, yea, though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. There's no getting around that reality. So That being said, I know that the answer or the solution is not going to be to keep me going eternally in this body. It's just not going to happen. But I have something greater that I'm looking forward to beyond this life when Christ returns. And I'll have a new body then, which will be none of these issues. But since I'm in this life now, what helps me to be determined that I believe that there can be improvement, or help me keep going as strong as I possibly can, is that there are promises in the scriptures regarding prayer and believing, and that if you want prayer to be answered, that God expects you to believe it will be. So if with that factor in my mind, or that truth in my mind, I believe there must be something that will help and make a difference. So even though it's not going to cause me to be 17 again, or just like eternally healthy, so I never have to think about what I'm dealing with. Apparently that's just going to be a reality. But in the meanwhile, I believe it's God's will for us to be healthy. So I pray for that. In fact, I've been very healthy. I'm thankful for that. It's the knee thing. It's the biggest thing that I have to contend with in my daily life. So the solution for that really would help make things smoother. So that's why I'm determined there's got to be an answer. And maybe this is it, what I found for what's going to work as much as it can. I don't really know for sure, but I'm keeping my eyes and ears open. And like I said, today, I feel good.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was really wonderful. After everything that you've been through, all the things that you've tried, how does it feel to have made it this far? Because I know you've got goals, but you've fought, you've been a warrior, you've been so determined. How does it feel to be where you are right now?
I'm thankful. I'm thankful every day for the health I do enjoy. I'm thankful my knees aren't. I've felt worse with them, of course. Okay, so I'm thankful it's not anything that's so dominating my awareness, because I feel this constant discomfort. So I'm thankful for that. But like I said, I'm still looking for better. The finish line, so to speak, as you said. So
I think we're all right there with
yeah,
you.
so I think that's pretty much the story of life to a certain degree. You're always going to be looking for something that's going to give you a better situation, an answer to whatever you're dealing with.
Well, that's what we're here for. We want people to keep fighting. We want people to keep searching for answers. And I think your story was so special. Thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today. It's really it's been so wonderful.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. No problema.
All right. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Warrior Stories podcast. If you are interested in learning any more details about some of our warrior stories, then head on over to hakalife.com/podcast. And if you or someone you know is interested in sharing their health journey, comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, or email us at warrior@hakalife.com. Thank you all so much for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.